Alright. So I've never really done anything like this before where I've talked in front of a camera. I'm not really comfortable being in front of a camera, but I felt like I owe an explanation to the people around me about the album I just released because it means a lot to me, and it's not the happiest album in the world, but it's special to me. So I want to provide some explanation to everyone about that. So it's this video is unscripted. So just if I look like a lost puppy trying to form sentences, just you know, don't get mad at me, I guess. The first track on this album is titled "Shutdown Breakdown," and it's a song that I wrote covering like a thing that I noticed in my life. I go through these waves of like, waves of emotion. Basically, I feel like I have these moments like 1 to 3 days of feeling really happy, and just like joy, like islands of joy. And I started noticing a pattern where after about 3 days, it would just drop, and I would go back to being my usual self. But I wanted to write about that, so I I wrote about it. It's kind of a special song to me because it's talking about feeling so happy and feeling so great, but expecting that it's going to end. And I thought that was kind of an interesting topic to write about. There's a line in that song talking about sessions, therapy sessions, and canceling therapy sessions. And it was on one of those islands, so to speak, that I stopped going to therapy, and it's one of the bigger regrets in my recent life is not going and talking to somebody. But I felt that I could just be fine writing down my thoughts through music, which definitely helped. But I think I could have benefited from talking to somebody. So the second song on this record is called "Ask For," and it's a song. It's kind of sarcastic. It's supposed to be sarcastic. It's about how I really failed to appreciate relationships and the effort that it takes to really form a solid relationship with somebody else. And so it was more so just me rambling. I don't know. It's kind of a song about how I was kind of a crappy person for feeling that way and just taking people for granted. And once I recognized that, I wrote that song, and it was kind of just like a way for me to apologize for that. I don't know. The third song on this record is "Change for Me." It's something I didn't really write. It was between me and a friend of mine. He wrote all the verses. He wrote it all, and I wrote the chorus. That the repeating chorus. I wrote that around his words. But that song's interesting to me because I feel like we're talking about two different things in that song. I'm pretty sure he was talking about some sort of relationship he was having, like romantically, but I was more talking about a platonic relationship that I had with a friend of mine, and it just kind of fell apart. So I wanted to capture that. And the fourth song on this album is called "Flight Risk." It's a song about another one of my friends. I wanted a message of encouragement out to him because I kind of noticed, he wasn't doing all that well. and I wanted to I wanted to create something for him, as like a way to be like, hey, everything's gonna be all right. Everybody has low points, and you just gotta keep pushing on through those low points. It's an effort. It takes effort. It's difficult, but and I struggle with that too. It's easy to take your own, or to not. It's easy to give advice, but it's hard to take your own words and internalize them, I guess. So it's easier for me to go and encourage people rather than trying to encourage myself. The fifth song on this album is titled "Go Back." It it's a song about hoping to stay in one place forever. Because there's safety in the things that don't change around you, but it's funny because everything's changing all the time, no matter what you want to do. There's really nothing you can do to stop things from changing around you, but I feel like I've had my claws dug into some things, trying to hold on to stuff that I know I can't hold on to forever. And watching that stuff get ripped away kind of sucks. Kind of stings a little bit. And it's funny because that song, I wrote that song about a year ago, so the song was already outdated by the time it even came out, which is funny. The next song, track 6, is a letter to a friend. It's a very special song to me. It started out as a poem I had written in my notebook for a friend of mine that I had, a friend of mine that I left when I moved to Florida from Massachusetts, and he was my best friend, and me and him spent a lot of time together. And when I moved, I promised myself that I would do my best to hold on to that friendship, and I wouldn't let that go. And it didn't work out. We called each other all the time for a while. We played online together, but it just things change, stuff happens, people move on, and you know the song was really about, I wish I could see that version of you again. I don't think they would want to see me as I am now, because I'm not the same person that I was when I left that place. A lot has changed, and I think we wouldn't be able to be friends again. It might be unrealistic, but that was what was going on through my mind when I wrote that song. But again, it's about holding on to things you really can't hold on to. The seventh song on this album is an interlude. It's titled "Dizzy," and at the beginning there's a little vocal clip of my mom and my sister. She was 5 at the time, and she was pushing my sister on the swing, and my mom goes, "Are you getting dizzy?" And my sister goes, "No, I just started." And I thought it was a really I thought it was a really beautiful quote, just because you could take it out of context and apply it to childhood. And that song just feels like childhood. It feels like fleeting childhood to me. It's difficult to watch your childhood disappear from you. Especially now, since I'm heading off to college. I just graduated. Um, it sucks that there are things that you can't go back to, and you remember. Your childhood leaves you, and the memories of that childhood are all you have left, and those leave you eventually too. So the next song on this record is called 7 Seconds, and it was actually the first song that I wrote for this album. It's kind of a song its meaning is all over the place. It talks about, there's 7 different parts of that song, and each one talks about a different insecurity of mine that I have, and I just wanted to, rapid fire just talk about all that in one song and get it off my chest as fast as possible, because I just wanted to cover that. This music is like therapy to me. Because it's hard to get people to come in and listen to you and want to hear about whatever you're going through. The next song on this record is Broken Backs. It's a song I wrote. It's more about disappointment than anger. It was about a falling out that I had with a friend of mine like about a year ago. It's probably when I wrote that. It it was really just a song talking about how could you, you know, do that to a friend of yours. I'm not going to get into what happened, but you know, but then the song was kind of a lesson for me, to tell me this is just going to happen. I mean, people are going to do that to you. People are going to walk all over you, and it's up to you to decide how you want to handle that. And I didn't handle it too well. But I think now, after this year of time, I'm more equipped mentally to deal with a situation like that in the future. At the end of that song, there's a segment from Underneath the Loquat Tree, which is a song on my second album. And that song was about, my friendship with those friends. I took that vocal and I put it at the end of this song and distorted it and ruined it and mocked it, because it just felt like that was what happened to the friendship I had. And I felt it was appropriate to include, because it's I was being honest with myself. I didn't want to hide behind anything or lie when I made this record. I just wanted to be as truthful as I could and document how I felt at the time. The next song is called Magnesium Fire. It's another one of the early songs that I wrote for this album. And it's really a song that talks about finding an escape, and using that escape constantly, and abusing it, and abusing that escape until you've worn it out and it doesn't work anymore. It's like short junk food versions of help. It's not like a long-term benefit. It's short dopamine bursts, and whatever you can find to numb whatever you're going through at the time, as opposed to looking at the problem as a whole and trying to solve it. Yeah, I guess that's all I want to say about that one. The next song is difficult for me to talk about. It's called Nothing I Can Do. I wrote it shortly after I had gotten into like a mini car accident. Nobody was hurt, thankfully, but it was like a real moment of helplessness that I felt in that moment. There was nothing we could do to stop the car, or anything. We were just we were just up to chance as to what happens. We lost control. There was nothing to be done, and that lack of control really stuck with me, and I wanted to write about that. I kind of expanded it into just like a lack of control over your life, and how difficult it is to hold on, or to move on, and how difficult it is to just go through the day to day, and you just kind of feel like you're being dragged along most of the time. I don't remember what I did yesterday, and I probably won't remember what I'll do tomorrow. It's really just a song about helplessness. I mean, it's a little deeper than that, but if the lyrics in that song speak for themselves, I don't need to talk about that one. And the second to last song is called "Fly Away," and it's a song about running away and being free from everything that's bothered you for so long. It's every time I hear that song, I see a flashback of everything I've done up up to the release of this album. Like about 14 months of time, flies through my head every time I hear that song. And it's really a song about leaving all that behind, and going off and doing what makes you happy. It's a very retrospective song, recognizing your faults, putting them aside, and telling yourself that everything's gonna be okay, because you're gonna go off and do more with your life. Now is very temporary. That song means a lot to me. It's one of the more hopeful songs on the album. It's like it's supposed to be a message about moving on, and finally letting things go, which I think I need to do more of. The last song on this record is called Rain, and it's a song saying it's okay to be upset, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay to be unhappy, but you can't let it consume you. You can allow yourself to be upset. It's healthy to be upset for a little while, and just let the feelings wash all over you, and you can just live in that for a bit, and it feels good to live in that sometimes. But you need to know when to say, I've had enough. I can't be sad forever. Let it hit me now, so I can go on and be better later in the future. And that was a very special song to me, because it makes me feel better about not always being happy in the moment. This record really helped me get through this year, because this has been a hell of a year for me, and it allowed me to capture and contain a lot of the issues and insecurities that I had faced this year, and put them into words. And it's I mean, I wrote it for me, to help me feel better, but I wanted, if it was just for me, I wouldn't have published it. But I have faith that there's a message in this music for other people to hear, and maybe if someone can relate to these songs, they might be able to find a break, or find some help in these songs, or just be able to relate to them, and be like, oh, I feel like that too sometimes. I'm not I'm not irregular, because it's so easy to feel out of place and irregular when everybody around you seems to be doing so much better than you. And it's hard to wrap your head around why. But the truth is you don't see people fully. You don't see them the same way they see themselves. And everybody's dealing with something, no matter how no matter what the issue is. If it affects you, then it's real. So I just wanted to show you that what I'm going through is real, and if you can relate to that, whatever you're going through is real. And I just wanted to let you know that, we're not by ourselves, no matter how by ourselves we may feel. So